Welcome back, everyone. It's a Thursday. We don't normally do things on a Thursday unless we're talking about something specific. And in this case, we are. You can probably tell from the borders. We're talking about the DCEU and its demise. What went wrong? What could have been prevented?
What went right?
What went right?
Well, Sloan, I think Sloan said it pretty well when he said, James is the expert, I'm the apologist, and what you, Sloan?
I'm sitting in the corner eating paste. I know nothing about the DC universe.
Well, that's not true. That's not true.
Well, I rectified it. So when we talked about this, I thought I hadn't watched that many movies, and it turns out I'd watched all but 4 of them.
Yeah.
And the 2 I hadn't watched, well, the 2 main ones I hadn't watched was Dawn of Justice and Justice League.
Yep.
And I've rectified that. So I haven't watched Blue Beetle or Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I haven't watched those 2, but I've watched.
Well, I don't blame you. So what I thought we would do, we were just talking earlier on, and basically we're going to get through the movies the way they were released. But I think the list that we've got, there was a little kink in the armour at the end because of the writer's strike and things. So I think some releases get flipped the way they were supposed to be released. And we'll maybe talk about that, how that kind of affected like certain scenes and post-credit scenes and things like that.
Should apologise as well. The only graphic I can find with the timeline is the one where it's the chronological order that these movies appear in the universe, which is useless.
Right.
But we'll go with it.
Well, also, I do think it matters the way they were released, which is unfortunate. But let's see what your list is. So this is the obviously we're talking about this because this is as a complete body of work. This is the DCEU, and now it's over with the Aquaman 2. James Gunn's taken over, so it's going to be a brand new whatever he's going to do with it type thing. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about these. Unfortunately, they're not in order at all. But the first one was Man of Steel. That was the first release.
Yeah, Man of Steel.
So it was all going to plan. Zack Snyder, Man of Steel, then Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
We should also explain as well that Chris Nolan was tapped to do a Superman movie, and he'd just coming off of Batman, and he said, "You know what? I don't really want to do it. I know this guy that does though." And that's why he got exec producer credit on the first 2 movies, because he was the guy that got the ball rolling, kind of, so to speak. So he suggested Zack Snyder.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how Zack Snyder got the nod to be the guy to take it forward. Because it was originally going to be Nolan's Superman movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could argue that Watchmen was his sort of audition tape for these movies, or his part of the Snyderverse, as they call it, which didn't end up being the Snyderverse really, because it became a sort of a mishmash, and unfortunately it was a bit of a kind of Kathleen Kennedy type. We're going to do this. Oh no, we're going to do this instead. And it was, I think, a lot of knee-jerk reactions because of what Marvel was doing at the time as well. Altered the DCEU for probably the worse, instead of just mowing down the way that Zack Snyder was going with these. And
also not only was there studio interference, there was also corporate interference, because while all this was happening, the owners of DC was changing by the minute as well. So that was also thrown into the mix.
That's right, yeah. And I think that was, like I say, a lot of knee-jerk reactions because of that. So let's take so the first one was Man of Steel. Did we all like Man of Steel?
Aye, I thought it was a great movie in my opinion, great film. I loved Hans Zimmer's score, and I thought, what a great way to kick off this.
It was.
I had really, really, really high hopes. I thought it was well done. Really loved Henry Cavill as Clark, and I really liked Amy Adams as Lois, and Larry Fishburne, Perry White. I think it was a good and who played Michael Shannon as Zod, and then who played his dad, Jor-El?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe,
of course. Yeah, I thought it was all great, and I liked the whole story. Yeah. It was fantastic. Real high hopes, and I think I was like, being a DC fan, I was like, right, let's see what we can do with this, And Marvel's doing their thing, and they're doing, fantastic. This is how it should be done. No, I shouldn't say that. This is how we're going to do it, or this is how DC is going to do it.
And they definitely did have a different. I mean, Zack Snyder had his vision, which is his vision is very, unique to Zack Snyder. Like Sloan always talks about his slow-mo and his the action sequences. He kind of really, which really works for, as you'll say, Sloan, because we've been talking about this, but it really works for superhero movies. His style, and I would say that the way that he films a superhero movie is second to none. It really is.
Not so good with the space opera stuff, though.
No, because he maybe overuses it when it's not necessary, But for the superhero stuff, it really does work. That dramatic stuff. Sloan, did you enjoy Man of Steel?
I thought it was fine. It's not my favorite movie of the Snyderverse. I really didn't like the end battle because so here's the other thing as well, is I was late to the game.
It's a bit Michael Bay, isn't it? The end battle. I just finished watching Aquaman, so I've watched all these things out of order as well, which doesn't help. So I just finished watching Aquaman, and it's just this big CGI battle at the end, and then it was a big CGI battle at the end of this, and I'm like, ugh. I was a bit tired of the everything's done on a computer type stuff, and it was fairly.
You're talking Superman Zod. You're talking Superman Zod.
There was a lot of stuff, and I was thinking about it as well because we were doing this show. Like there's bits in it where he like zooms about flying, and it doesn't look. It looks like he's breaking the laws of physics at times. The CGI, and it just takes you out of it. But then again, I don't know. Like he's Superman. Like what's Superman supposed to look like?
That battle battle has been seen in 3 different movies over the DCEU.
Yeah, that's right. It's in Flash as well.
Yeah, we saw it in Batman Superman at the beginning, and we saw it in Flash. Yeah.
That's how you pad out a movie. That in slow-mo.
Yeah.
There's a big recap as well at the start of Justice League. Like the first 20 minutes of Justice League is a recap of what happened in the first 2 movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything more to add to Man of Steel? For me, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it. Henry Cavill was terrific.
I didn't bump into that battle at the end. It was a bit of a shock that he kind of snapped Zod's neck. Spoilers for an 11-year-old film.
That was the controversy, wasn't it? Superman doesn't kill.
Yeah. So, but I get why he done it, and I thought, all right, okay, we'll just go with it. And I thought the battle at the end.
But is that truth, or does Superman not kill?
No, he doesn't kill.
Never.
Well, he's not. No, he's not known to kill. I mean, up until that point, like it's a thing.
Well, same as Batman's not supposed to use guns.
So it's definitely a controversial thing. Yeah.
Aye.
So now we move on to Batman versus Superman, which you and I went to see, James, at the IMAX all those years ago. And I walked out of that going, and I said to you, I was like, I don't know if I enjoyed that. And you were like, I bloody did enjoy it. I'm pretty sure you enjoyed it. And I walked out going, I don't know if I enjoyed that. It seemed a bit kind of serious, and there wasn't much humour and blah blah blah. And then I bought it on Blu-ray. I bought the extended version because I thought,
which is good.
I'm a completist, because I had all the Batmans before that, so I thought, well, I need to buy that one. Watched it again and went, what the hell was I thinking? This is absolutely epic.
A great movie, yeah.
It's so good, and the motivation for Bruce Wayne at the beginning of that movie to go against Superman is just spot on. It's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I liked it. There's only one bit in that movie that I didn't like, and I've always been aware that Bruce Wayne's mum's Martha Wayne, and I've always been aware that Clark Kent's mum's Martha Kent. I've always been aware of that, and I always thought that's quite good. But to have them have that bit at the end, and I was just like, people aren't going to like this. They're just going to think it's daft, and it is daft.
It is daft, and that's exactly what I thought. I thought, why would you phrase it like that? Like if you're like being killed, if you're in the middle of being killed, and you're like, save my mum, that's what you would say. You wouldn't say save Martha. You'd say save my mum.
I know. Martha, what did you say? You got to is your mum the same name as my mom's? Let's be friends.
Take my mum's name out your damn mouth.
Oh my goodness!
I know.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I really think they could have. I really think they didn't need to even mention it at all. No, they could have just done something else to stop the fight, or to have them realize we're on the same side. Had to have been something else. Save some kid, or
but I mean, listen. I think we've all forgiven them for that. It's the it's the imagery, though, the kind of Frank Miller-esque imagery that they got in that movie was so bloody good.
I actually like the way that they told it from Batman's perspective, because Superman comes across as being a bit of a dick in this movie.
Yeah.
And you can see that's Batman's perception, or Bruce Wayne's perception is, because he says to him at some point, he says, "That was your last warning," or something like that, and you're going like, "The hell are you?"
It's epic. I mean, Zack Snyder doesn't do anything but halves. Obviously, the extended version came out, and that was a great film. Great film.
And now who was Lex Luthor? Who was Lex Luthor?
Oh, it was
it's Jesse Eisenberg.
I thought he was great.
I thought he was fantastic as him.
He wasn't a popular choice, but he was great. It was creepy. Really good. It was really good. Was he the son of Lex Luthor, or was he?
No, he was Lex Luthor. Alexander Luthor.
He was actual Lex. Yeah. I'd just like to point out, back in 2016, this is when they started looking for a director for Flash. That's how problematic Flash was.
Oh, good grief.
It was like someone came on, someone's come off, someone's come on, someone's come off. It was back then they started looking for a director for Flash.
Wow.
So that's just a wee sideline, but we'll get back to that.
Well, that's actually another point, because you and I, Sloan, were talking about this, I think, in the podcast or after the podcast. We were last Sunday, and we were saying that all the parts that Zack Snyder set up, that kind of flashpoint. In fact, was that in?
That was Batman. So Batman, keep going with Batman. Bruce Wayne keeps getting like nightmares. That's what he ends up having. So he has one. He's in the Batcave, and he's having a night. He's in the middle of a nightmare, and he wakes up and he goes, "Oh, thank God, it was all a dream." Just at that point, Barry breaks through, and he's like, "It's Lois! You got to save Lois!" And then gets pulled back.
And to be fair to you can say anything about the DCEU, or if it didn't work or whatever, or it did work.
It's a hell of a setup.
I think we'll say it didn't work, but it made those things true. That thread went right through to the Flash movie. You know what I mean? It was because it was the actor
Ezra
that shall not be named.
Ezra Miller.
So all those points and those kind of breadcrumbs in those first few movies, they were still there in the later movies. They came to fruition type thing. They mattered, and they came to fruition.
So if we are talking about the state of the DC extended universe, or the state of DC just now, at this point, I'm thinking it's in a pretty good state.
Correct.
It may not be perfect, but it's in a pretty good state, and I'm quite happy the way things are going. That's what I'm feeling after this movie.
Now, it takes a turn for the worst, and it's a personal thing. Zack Snyder has a personal tragedy whilst making Justice League, and Josh Whedon takes
Now,
over.
are we talking Suicide Squad?
Hold on a minute.
Oh, sorry, Suicide Squad
You're
after?
missing Suicide Squad, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Right, sorry.
Let me just, I'll put it in order because it's obviously,
Right.
it's
Aye.
a bit confusing with these in order with the
Oh, sorry, I
timelines
didn't
and all
realise
that
it was
stuff.
two before Justice League. Right, okay.
So
let's
yeah,
go
Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Right, okay. It takes a bit of a left turn at Suicide Squad as well.
But again, that was studio interference. That was they released the first trailer, and it didn't do well.
Yeah.
And everybody said it was too dark, and it needed to lighten it up. And I think the Joker wasn't in the original trailer,
Right.
or he wasn't even supposed to be in the film at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, "You need to put the Joker in."
I think that well, if it was an afterthought, that it shouldn't have been. The focus should have been on the Joker and Harley Quinn, and the rest of the Suicide Squad. There was no focal point in any of the characters. That was the biggest thing for me in that movie. I did enjoy it to certain scenes and things like that, but
let's fast forward a little bit, because the second Suicide Squad, bizarrely called the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. It didn't really have a focus on the characters. Every character had like their own kind of wee story, though, and it worked though.
I think it did. It had Peacemaker and the other dude. What do you call him?
Flag.
They had a kind of rival. Yeah, they had a kind of rivalry, and then they had the wee offshoot Harley Quinn story.
Yeah.
So it was. I think it was tighter for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I just
we'll
feel
get to that
Suicide Squad, the original Suicide Squad, wasn't. Although there was elements of it I still enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a funny feeling. Sorry, James.
No, on you go.
I was going to say that I've got a funny feeling the bit where they end up in a bar and they kind of recuperate for a bit. I think that was a reshoot, because that was to inject a wee bit of humor into the whole proceedings. Because up until that point, it was a pretty joyless affair, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go for it, James. So at this point, between Dawn of Justice and this one, and hearing that I like Fury, done by David Ayer, because David Ayer directed this.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed Fury, and I enjoyed a few other things that David Ayer done.
Tank one.
The Tank movie, yeah. So, and I think that was his last one before he went on to do Suicide Squad. I was like, right, so he can handle like an ensemble cast.
Yes.
So he'll be able to do something. I was like really, really excited, and then I seen the trailer, and the trailer had what Queen song did he have? Was it Bohemian Rhapsody? They had it was like in the trailer. I thought, aye, this is.
I think it was
really
the I see a little silhouette of that bit.
That's it.
Yeah.
Aye. But when I went to see it in the pictures, I came out thinking that was probably my first wee wobble. I liked it, I liked certain aspects of it, but that was probably my first wee wobble with Suicide Squad.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. And it was a kind of off field. You're like, okay, we're going with this, which is fine. It's fine to bring in the sort of the bad guys kind of thing, but you'd think it's all going to tie in eventually. With what Zack Snyder's doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get is it Wonder Woman's next? Yeah,
Wonder Woman, yeah.
Which is a very successful film for DC.
I liked it.
I really liked it. I don't think you liked it, Sloan. Am I right?
Again, the big CGI battle at the end. I was like,
it's a
really?
bit too much. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, I get it. It's like Michael Bay. You watch a Michael Bay film for 2 hours, and an hour of it is a boss fight.
It's like a
boss fight almost.
I was sitting watching that Criminal Record last night, and I was like, this program's on for an hour, and 5 minutes of that either side, so 2.5 minutes either side is credits, and the rest of it is pretty inconsequential because it's only the last 2 minutes where it gives you that little bit of nugget for the next episode.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is just useless.
For
It feels
me,
like there's always a formula to these things, and I think the DCEU was stuck in this kind of like big CGI battle at the end of it formula, which, by the way, Marvel is guilty of doing as well.
yeah, but for
I think
me,
we were all a bit fatigued at that point.
Yeah,
for all that stuff, and it's probably Marvel's fault.
Yeah. Well, I think that Marvel does the CGI stuff better, though.
So I just want to run back a little bit to Batman versus Superman. I know there's a big CGI battle at the end of that, but there's an antagonist and a protagonist in there, and it made it a little bit more personable rather than a billion things fighting another billion things. That's what I mean by big CGI battle.
Yeah.
Like even the Man of Steel one wasn't as bad as Aquaman, for example. Because it was two people fighting each other, even though there was like big explosions and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to kind of make that distinction between what I consider like a big, stupid CGI battle,
a
stramash, yes, as opposed to basically a very expensive barroom brawl, which is good.
Yeah,
Kingsman.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, the first Kingsman, not
first
the
Kingsman, yeah.
The second was a bit of a mess.
Overall, the Wonder Woman stuff, was it World War One they were in?
World War One, with
World War
Steve.
One, so So overall, I'm happy with Wonder Woman. Again, I was a bit fatigued with the end battle, but overall, I'm thinking, good movie.
I don't. Who does the score for Wonder Woman? Because I don't know who it is.
The Goya?
Hans Zimmer. Is it Hans Zimmer? No.
Did he do the Wonder Woman theme?
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But just I don't know if you can double check it.
Because the Wonder Woman theme is my favorite superhero music. Like the bit where she always appears in, whether it's Batman versus Superman or Justice League or whatever it is, and she does it. It's fantastic. I love that song.
I don't think she gets enough credit, Gal Gadot. I think she's really good. I really like her. She's dead likable,
Aye.
And she's she's not the greatest actress in the world, but she's on screen. She's like a goddess. You know what I mean? Proper. She's proper good. And
Rupert
I think we'll miss
Gregson Williams.
Okay.
Is that the director?
Rupert. The
composer. Sorry.
Well, he deserves a medal for the Wonder Woman battle theme or whatever it's called.
Never heard of him.
Him of the Valkyries or whatever it's. I don't know what it's called, but it's amazing.
I liked all that stuff actually in Wonder Woman at the beginning, all the kind of Amazonian stuff.
That was good. That was a nice wee bit of kind of world building.
It was really good actually. And Chris Pine is great. I think he's one of my favourite Chris's, if not my favourite.
Along with Pine, Pratt, and Evans.
I think he's probably my favourite actually.
Hemsworth, no.
Hemsworth as well. He's my favourite Chris.
No, my favourite Chris is actually Hemsworth. I think he's really good.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth. He's my second favourite.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to Justice League, don't we?
Yes.
So it's like DC Assemble at this point.
Yeah.
And
in one case, literally.
Yeah, and I think they were always working up to this, but I think Avengers had already come out. So it was like a case of, it's one of those Hollywood things that happens that you get a
volcano in Dante's Peak.
Correct. That moment, where two very similar movies come out, and this was that moment. And I'm not sure if it was. I'm sure it was meant to be, but maybe not quite so early. So it was maybe rushed a little bit. But like I say, Zack Snyder had this personal tragedy in his life with his daughter committing suicide.
Okay.
So he had to bow out, and it was.
And Deborah Snyder, she was a producer on it, I'm sure.
Yeah, she is.
His wife.
Yeah.
So it's two.
She produces everything, doesn't she? So both of them were out. So it was Josh Whedon came in.
Josh Whedon,
right? Josh Whedon, yeah.
Who had directed the Avengers? He directed the first Avengers movie.
So he get brought in. There's stories about him on the internet as well, but we'll not go into that. And he pulled what Zack had done, and I don't know if he'd added his own kind of spin on it, and it was a kind of
He
more like
lightened the tone, shall we say?
it was more Marvel than it was
Yeah.
kind of Zack Snyder's vision.
Mhm.
So it didn't quite fit with what I think Zack. Well, we know later on it certainly didn't fit with what his vision was. So was this the beginning of the end?
It was
The
the
downfall?
beginning. It was the
I think
beginning
so.
of the end of Snyderverse, because they realized that at that point they'd put all their eggs in one basket, and Warner's were getting a bit worried the fact it was taking a darker tone than
Yeah.
Marvel, because they wanted Marvel because Marvel is child friendly, it's
Yeah.
bums on seats, it's lunch boxes, all that kind of stuff. And they realized that that's not what they were getting with DC. DC was taking this kind of more adult
Which
oriented tone,
it
which
should.
is fine because Deadpool 1 and 2 have made a bucket load of money.
But it's
The
not as
Joker made a bucket load of money for them.
but it's
They're
not.
all R-rated.
But it's not just that. It's like follow your own path. Be your own thing. Do
I
your
know.
own original thing. DC are not Marvel. And James,
I know.
you know that more than MD.
You win the teaser.
Certainly in this, certainly between the three of us, and they're just not the same, and they shouldn't be. So don't copy what Marvel are doing. If that's what they were indeed, or Josh Whedon.
See back then when Justice League was getting brought out, you could feel the desperation. I mean, all the chats and podcasts I was listening to and was part of, you could just feel they were desperate.
Yep.
They just kept on looking over across the street, because that's what it used to be back in during the day. Back in the day, they kept on, when they talked about it on the backs of the comics, and they had the pages. They used to describe Marvel and DC as if they were across the street. I don't know if they were or not, but you could just sense it. They were always looking across the street. What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? And they were just like, we've just got to put this out. And I think they would. I think they forced their hand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just ultimately at this point they've not laid a good foundation.
Oh, the other thing as well was, and this is, I was watching a documentary about it, and it was actually fascinating because it was talking about the length of movies, and so Joss Whedon is not a man for cutting things. He likes a long movie. Sorry, not Joss Whedon. What am I talking about? Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is he loves long movies.
Yeah.
And Warner's were going like, no, we want a short movie because then we can get more shows.
Yes.
Per day. Yeah. And so Zack was like, well, I'm not cutting anything from a movie. And they went, we'll see about that, boyo. And of course, they started doing their own thing because that's what studios do. And so, this is the sort of start of the end of it all. But of course, as soon as people found that out, that's when Release the Snyder Cut became a thing. And people started to get, annoyed the fact that Warner's were not, they were not bowing down to the fans. They were not giving the fans what they wanted. But you saw this one in the cinema though when it came out.
I went to see it. I went to see it a couple of times. Justice League. I think I went to see it. This is when I started to become a bit of an apologist for the DCEU. This is where I was starting to give films the benefit of the doubt. And in hindsight, I don't think the Justice League is a good movie.
The original,
I do like the original version, 2017
release version of it.
Yes, I do. And I listened to your podcast the other day, and I would agree with you when it came to the 21 version. There's the Snyder Cut. That is good, in my opinion.
So I never watched. I was saying this to Jody in the podcast. I never watched the color version of it. I watched the grey version of it. If you have not watched the grey version of it, I recommend the grey version of it because I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It was just like everything's in contrast. Like you can see everything clearly. The 4:3 aspect ratio really works because like there's a lot of like verticality in the frame, and I think you'd lose that if it was the letterbox or the longer one.
Yeah,
and an isomorphic. I can never pronounce that word. The long one ratio. Yeah, it's a beautiful movie in black and white. But
Did I hear you say, Sloan, that they adjust all the blacks? They adjust everything.
Yeah, it's all been
it's not just
recolored, regraded, and everything. So
Yeah.
it looks like it's a completely different. Like I watched a Screen Crush review of the 2021 thing of it, and it showed clips. I was like, wait, he's wearing a different suit.
Yeah, they've got to.
I didn't realize that Superman is wearing a different suit at the end of it because it's black and white.
They've got to do that so there's some sort of consistency with the tones, you know.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if when it's a color, you don't just flick a switch and it's black and white.
Mm-hmm.
You need to kind of have some sort of tonal.
Yeah, because otherwise everything just looks grey.
Well, certain things will look too dark, I think, and you know, and certain things will look too bright. So you need to kind of really, somebody needs to kind of have a consistent kind of tone about the thing, you know, to a certain extent.
My only complaint about that movie though was it was 4 hours.
Yeah, it's a two sitting thing,
and I watched it over 3 days.
Yeah.
Should have been a mini-series. I think you guys said that the other night in the podcast.
Yeah, it definitely should have been.
But anyway, you can watch it as a mini-series. So
exactly, that's essentially what I did as well. Just watched it as a mini-series. I really liked it. I liked the backstory of Cyborg and that all kind of came to be. It also had the Billy Cudlip, that guy. Is Barry's dad in it as well?
Yeah, so, that was recast for the Flash.
I thought it wasn't him. Yeah,
it's the guy from Loudermilk.
So it is. Yeah. Ron Livingston.
Yes. Yeah. Did you see the original, Sloan? The original Justice League cut?
No.
So you've only seen the good one?
I've only seen. Not only that, I've only ever seen the black and white good one.
There's no point. I would never go back, Sloan. Never go back.
No point.
There's no point.
Jody, see when you were away there, I said at this point I'm starting to apologise. In my mind, come on, it's all right. I went to see it twice.
It's my job.
And the second time, I know.
For the original one, you mean? You're talking about the original one?
The 2017. Just the battle at the end, and there were just certain things. I liked some of it. You know, I did like some of it, but I thought it was an okay movie.
Also, Amber Heard's got a completely different accent in it as well.
Huh?
Because she's got received pronunciation English accent in Justice League, and she doesn't have that in Aquaman.
Huh?
Don't know.
Well, see, you're talking with James about the original one. You kind of an apologist for the movie, but you didn't know that nobody knew that they were going to do this extended cut because it didn't exist at the time. So we got it. Amazingly, we got it. People were bored during lockdown, you know. So,
and
it was a good way to publicize HBO Max as well.
HBO Max, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
Hence the millions of pounds given to him to just go and do it. So,
absolutely.
But anyway, at this point, I'm a wee bit kind of. That should have been your A game. That should have been your big
because
one.
It should have been. It wasn't a big. It was a pretty. Well, I'm saying a flop. It wasn't received well at all. The original one, not the. We can't really gauge it because the extended cut was never released in the cinema.
Yeah.
So
next up,
who's next?
First flop, really.
Aquaman.
A wee story about that. We walked in to see. Me and Faith walked in to see very, very specifically. Walked in to see Aquaman, and then a scene Into the Spider-Verse was on at the same time, and I said to Faith, "I know you're going to kill me," because there was no hype around Into the Spider-Verse. I just heard a couple of rumors it was meant to be absolutely bang on. I said, "We are not going to go and see Aquaman because I've got a feeling it's going to be all right, but I've got a feeling if we go and see Into the Spider-Verse, it's going to be not life-changing, but movie life-changing. You know, like oh my god, we're going to experience something really special." And
you were right.
and against her judgment, we went to see Into the Spider-Verse, And thank goodness we did, because it was utterly amazing. But anyway, back on Aquaman. We did eventually go and see Aquaman, and I thought it was all right.
I enjoyed it in the
That was
cinema, but I've seen it subsequently, and I've thought it's all
It's a
right.
movie. It was made.
And like you say, Sloan, it's yet another massive fight at the end that just goes on and on and on and on.
It doesn't make any sense. And then there's a bit as well where he goes to meet his mum, and she's in
Lots
this
of it was
like
boring.
CGI paradise thing, and it was just like, I don't care about any of these characters. You're not giving me anything to root for here. It's just like, meh.
What do you know? What it should have been? It should have been like a commentary on like how much plastic we're dumping in the ocean.
It should have been. It could have been
Do you know
an
what I mean?
equal. It could have been. It could have been. Superman's quest for peace or something like that. It could have been something like that.
Something along those lines. And see, one of the best bits about it, I will say, was there's a recent enemy of Aquaman called the Trench, and it's all those kind of alien type creatures. And I mean literally H.R. Giger's Alien. You know, when he went down and tried to find his mum, and you see all those creatures that were jumping up onto the fisherman's boat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're a great villain. They are a great, great villain. And to have him just save fishing boats, lift aircraft carriers out of the ocean, dump them on beaches, do things to oil rigs, save sharks. If he'd done all that stuff and fought the Trench, and if he fought the Trench, that would have been a cracking story, I think.
Yeah.
I like
the fight with his brother.
I like those the baddies that were on the sort of Mediterranean roof. That battle, I quite enjoyed that. It looked like a computer
those Mantises guys.
Yeah, I like that. Aye, they're pretty cool.
But again, that whole thing, like the whole thing, could have just been avoided because at the very end they become sort of not close with each other, but they at least tolerate each other in the same room.
But I'd like to make the point though that Aquaman was the first $1 billion movie of the franchise.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It got us, and do you know where a lot of that money came from? The Chinese market really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chinese market. That's what saved that. That's why we got the Lost Kingdom.
There you go.
Thanks, China.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Cheers.
Anyway, dare I say that Aquaman, in our opinion, was a bit of a flop because it's fish. Flop. In a story sense, it was a bit of a damp squib.
Yes, at that point, I'm thinking, even though it's done $1 billion, I'm not really caring about the DCEU that much anymore.
Yeah.
And then, listen, I know we're going to go on to Shazam. I've not really properly watched it. I was so meh.
Oh, you were so at that point. You were so disengaged by it. I tell you something.
Meh. I still haven't watched it properly to this day.
All the things I don't like about Aquaman, I love about Shazam. So it's about this. There's real threats, real danger, real characterizations in it. There's real life or death stakes. It's a brilliant movie, and it's about a bunch of kids that find superpowers.
Shazam is
maybe I should go back and revisit it.
I think
Shazam is one of the most charming movies.
Don't watch Fury of the Gods though; it's crap.
It's the most charming movie out the whole DCEU. Absolutely,
it is.
Yes,
I think I was in an Aquaman huff.
Understandably so. I think
it's great. So. It's terrific. Joker doesn't count because that's
Joker doesn't count.
That's a separate thing.
But it was the second movie to make $1 billion that was R-rated.
It was.
The first one was Deadpool.
Did that do $1 billion? Man?
It did.
Just trying to get it off.
It's also the second one in the DC.
But it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
So Birds of Prey.
Yeah, Birds of Prey. I've not seen.
And the Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Some weird title.
I'm not sure what the point of that film was.
Fun.
I quite liked it. It was just a laugh.
I liked it as well. I thought it was funny. It's Margot Robbie. It's Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Go make a movie.
Was it because of we'd seen so little over in
Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad that
I think.
I'm not sure why it was made.
I mean, Harley Quinn's a
I
fairly
think,
new character, but she's so popular.
Yeah, she is one of the only characters that's transitioned from the cartoon into the comics. It's always the other way around, and I think she was possibly the first one to go not comics into cartoon, but cartoon into comics, because she was
She's
made for
so popular that Kevin Smith named his daughter after her.
Exactly.
That's correct,
Yeah. I thought it was a great film, great fun.
Yeah,
and it's got Rosie Perez in it, so anything with Rosie in it, it's all right by me.
Obi-Wan's in it as well.
Oh, he's a
that's
baddie.
Right. Yeah,
he's a baddie.
Right,
Black Mask.
That's right.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is I liked it because it was fairly. It was kind of low-level street type stuff.
Yeah,
and that's kind of Batman-y level.
Yeah, it's okay to do that.
And it's fine. Exactly. It's fine. You don't need crazy big CGI to have a good movie.
I don't think I've seen it all the way through. Maybe I need to watch it again then.
You need to watch it again. Yeah.
Wonder Woman 1984. The sequel.
People hated this movie. I don't know why.
I enjoyed it. I did. I thought they were trying something different. It didn't have the usual big mad CGI battle at the end.
No.
It was a much more quieter affair. It felt more like an episode of the TV series to me.
Yeah.
It was kind of, they were trying something different. I think it worked. I think Patty Jenkins is a great director. I enjoyed it. I really did. We get what do you call him? Pedro Pascal as a baddie who hams it up pretty well.
It does, yeah.
And this was a COVID movie. This suffered a wee bit. Will it get released? Won't it get released? And then the HBO Max thing. Let's just stick it straight on there. Plus, they released it in the cinema as well, which just messed it up. I thought it was all right, but at this point, I'm now just viewing these films as nothing to do with anything else. So as opposed to so the film by itself may have been okay, but I'm just thinking there's no DCEU anymore, even though it kind of is.
At this point, you're right. It's fragmented completely now. With these movies, whereas it should have there should have been a Justice League 2, or, kind of went down that path, but we never ever got it.
They used to think that Zack Snyder was their Kevin Feige, but he never really was.
No.
Kevin Feige, and there wasn't really a proper foundation. Then he ultimately left, and there was no one really. There never really was a Kevin Feige, but when he left, there definitely wasn't a Kevin Feige.
I think Zack was there to do 3 films.
Well, no, he was there to do the Justice League trilogy that he wanted to do, but they had him do the first 2 Superman movies as well. But he wanted to do the Justice League 1, 2, and 3 because 1, 2, and 3 was supposed to. Again, the flash forward, the nightmare things that Bruce Wayne kept on seeing, that was supposed to be the post-apocalyptic end. The Justice League 3 was, Superman going bad, and then the time travel back to preventing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that was but I know you're saying the first 2 Superman movies, but I wouldn't even consider that to be a Superman movie. The second one, it was it wasn't like a Superman 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Superman got his Man of Steel. He never got his Man of Steel 2 and 3. You know what I mean? So he never got his full.
Also, this is also the time where they started giving it. Well, I don't know about Henry Cavill. He's making some money now, and he's quite expensive.
Big mistake.
Well, he's gone on from strength to strength. Have you seen the new Guy Ritchie trailer? Looks amazing.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. Ungentlemanly behaviour.
Reacher and Superman. Reacher and Superman in a movie together.
That does look good.
Sign me up.
That does look good. Argyle's not getting great reviews though.
Based on a true story as well.
Ungentlemanly behaviour.
I didn't realise he was in that.
Yeah. So
where are we?
We've talked about Justice League recut.
Yep. Which is non-canon, technically.
So now we've got Suicide Squad again. There's nothing to do with, it's DCEU, but again, it's got nothing to do with where they started from.
Yeah.
So it's yet another fragmented go at Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
And again, I don't know why. Where did this come from? They had a go at Suicide
James
Squad.
Gunn. James
I
Gunn got
watched this
fired from
movie.
Marvel. That's where it came from.
And
Is that it?
this is basically his. This is literally his audition tape for DC.
Right.
Mhm.
This
So
is
this-
honestly, this is what this is.
So this was basically the perfect vehicle for James Gunn,
Yeah.
to reignite kind of DC maybe.
Mhm. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely do something.
So
I
that
liked
was
it.
that was
I'm happy
good.
with it.
I liked it as well. I liked
I could go back and watch that right now. Easy.
Yeah, I liked it.
I
have
did go
fun.
back and watch it recently,
Yeah.
and it's still a great movie. I'll tell you something though,
Mm.
it did not make nearly as much money as the first Suicide Squad.
Goodness knows
That end sequence with the eyes is goofy.
That's fine.
Starro.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Starro,
an
yeah.
old. That's an old villain.
The
Yeah.
That's an
starfish
old
things.
villain.
Yeah, it's actually used in
Yeah.
Justice League. There's a Steppenwolf has got a robotic version of it,
Yeah.
which, by the way, was a believable villain.
I always think it's quite brave to pull these things off that are so goofy in the comics.
And
To
they bring him
actually
into
pull them
live
off in
action. Yeah.
because remember the end of Watchmen, and it was a sort of big tentacled in the comic book. It was like some big mad tentacle thing that tried to engulf the world. But they never went with that in the movie. I think the movie ending worked better because it wasn't so crazy, you know.
Mhm.
But
Although Rorschach dies.
okay.
Spoilers.
But anyway, so Suicide
So,
Squad success, but
Suicide
not
Squad.
success in the box office at all.
a successful, a critical success, but definitely, who cares about the DCEU now? Let's just see how much money we can make. Let's see if we can use
basically,
some of
let's
this
see
money
who
for
can much
something.
ring out.
Well, at this moment,
Yeah.
they've forgotten completely.
It's a fire
this moment in
sale.
time, it's a fire sale.
So we're going to miss out the next two because it's Batman and
Yeah.
DC League of Super Pets. The next one's Black Adam, and I'm convinced that Dwayne Johnson thought he was going to get the keys to the kingdom and be the next Zack Snyder.
He did.
And obviously that didn't work out because everybody went, I don't want to go and see this movie.
How weird though. Dwayne Johnson's one of the biggest actors of all time. Well,
Yeah.
not of all time, but right now. And DC.
But this
Black
is
Adam,
but
people
again,
were
this
waiting
is
for it.
sorry, I was just going to say this is when Dwayne's sort of star started to kind of like
Really?
yeah.
Oh, because he had that Jungle. What was it? Jungle.
There was a Jungle Cruise. There
Cruise.
was Black Adam. There's something else as well. Oh yeah, the he wasn't in Fast and Furious. He'd basically been canned from Fast and Furious.
Isn't this when him and Vin Diesel kind of made up?
Had it, and then they made up
Do you know
because
what,
obviously
Vin? You're not so bad after all.
Yeah.
Can we be pals now?
And he's going, is that right? Because that's
Yeah. Do you know what? I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay.
I liked it.
I really liked the how all the different superheroes in it. I thought it was a really good team. It kind of reminded me of the
Don't say Eternals. Don't say Eternals. Don't say Eternals.
Mark Miller, like a Mark Miller comic book.
Okay.
But not as rude and things like that. Obviously, in adult, but
Gutsy and visceral.
yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good. The style as well kind of reminded me of that. I
bit of slow-mo.
Really liked it. Aye, I really quite liked it.
Good.
Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I watched that. People said that was good.
Nope.
I watched it. I thought it was absolutely crap, and I really enjoyed the first one. Fury of the Gods is so bad.
Yeah, I would avoid watching it as well.
It's cliched, and it steals from Doctor Strange.
Yeah, To the point as well, they cut a vehicle in half with like a lasso rope type thing.
Yeah, it's tacky. It's derivative, completely, and it's an insult to
Your
what's going.
intelligence.
It's an insult to the previous movie, to be honest with you.
It is, yeah.
Because they built that really well, and I don't know if it's the same director or what the hell they were thinking, but that is rubbish, really bad.
Oh. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah,
that's not helping the DCEU.
No, it's not. No. So the next movie is The Flash.
The Flash, the controversial Flash, because of
Ezra
Miller. What a brilliant film! What a great film! Absolutely brilliant. It's probably one of my favourite out of the lot, if not my favourite. And it's certainly my favourite superhero movie for quite a while as well. Movie.
Is it because Michael Keaton's in it?
I think it's really good. I really enjoy it. Did you guys enjoy it?
There's, do you know? It's really the first time you sort of see Ezra Miller as the Flash, because I mean he was in Justice League, but you don't really get a sense of what his character is until this movie, which is, I mean, Justice League was 2017, and this is 6 years later. You get to see his Flash. Well, yeah, but maybe. I thought he was, but there's two different Barrys in it though.
Yes.
And he plays them brilliantly. He plays them very, very differently, and you can tell which one's which.
Absolutely brilliant.
And that's no mean feat to play similar characters.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's really annoying to everybody, but then he sees how annoying he is through this other guy's.
Yeah,
he's even more annoying. It's brilliant.
It's a pity. It's a pity. Brilliant. It's a pity the things ended up the way they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe that's one of the reasons why the parent company are distancing themselves from the DCEU. Is there's a lot of problematic stuff there. There's bridges have been shattered with Henry Cavill, and he's not coming back, and all this kind of stuff. And Ezra's a bit problematic, and they've decided to part ways with Patty Jenkins as well, but maybe not Gal Gadot.
No, she's gone.
No, apparently she's still here.
No, don't think so.
Okay.
I think she said she was, but no.
That's a shame. I think she was good as Wonder Woman, but
me too.
Obviously, the Batman movie never happened with Ben Affleck as well.
Well, a lot of things never happened that should have happened. The Affleck movie that he was going to direct, I mean, Ben Affleck's one of the biggest Batman fans out there. Yeah. He owns like Batman suits. He owns all sorts of Batman memorabilia and stuff. And he's a huge Batman fan. He had the chance to play him. He's probably one of the best portrayals of Batman, of a certain era of Batman that we've seen. We should have definitely got a solo Batman movie out of Ben Affleck, and we never, that's where it went, and we never get a second Superman movie either. There's so many things that could have happened that didn't, and
wasted opportunities.
Makes me sad.
Yes, yeah.
Blue Beetle. At this point, the DCEU is completely dead.
Haven't watched it either.
I watched Blue Beetle. I watched Blue Beetle. It is. People said it was good. It's not. It's totally cliched. Rubbish.
So
it was rubbish.
It looked like it was. Remember Yellow Jacket from Iron Man? It looked like that was the suit.
Yeah. It's a complete copy of like Iron Man, and lots of different other. Does he
do the flying up and then he runs out of fuel and then falls to Earth thing?
Yep, it's in the trailer. It's totally cliched stuff that we've seen before, and And
It's too late. It's too late.
It's too
Yeah.
late. Yeah.
you need to.
And we
you
all
need to
know
do
it's
something
we
original with the
all
genre.
know
But
we all
apparently,
know it's coming to an end.
this character, because it's new and it didn't really do that much damage. Apparently, James Gunn is keeping the character and the person who portrays the character going in the
Good,
DCEU.
but I don't know why. Anyway,
Well, they need somebody.
Maybe I'll go back and revisit it later.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then last but least, we've got Aquaman,
Yeah,
Lost Kingdom. Did you guys watch it?
No,
James refuses, don't you?
I do. I refuse to watch it.
I don't want to
And
watch
And it could
either.
be so
Jim-
good. And I
you-
wanted Aquaman to be so good because in the books I
Yeah.
just loved him because he was so underrated, and I just
Yeah,
He's
wanted
getting
to be
recast as
brilliant.
well. Jason Momoa is no longer going to be Aquaman. Apparently, he's going to be Lobo, but he's not going to be Aquaman.
Great,
yeah.
I think he might. I
Great.
think he might actually make a better Lobo, but you know.
aye, definitely.
That's fine.
Listen,
No.
guys, I'm gonna go back through this very, very, very quickly, and I'm gonna fix
Yeah,
the
go for
DCEU for you,
Oh yeah.
right?
Okay.
So
Well,
Man of Steel, Man of Steel, we're going to leave, and it's going to be exactly the way it is. No problem with that.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, we're going to release. I don't care how long it is. We'll release the extended cut, and we'll remove the Martha thing. Keep
Right.
that in. Forget Suicide Squad. Spend your money on Man of Steel 2. That's what I'm saying at
Correct.
this point.
Mhm.
Okay,
Nice
so we can keep Wonder Woman, right? Maybe do something about the back end battle.
Actually,
we're all a bit fatigued.
Actually, what you could do is for Man of Steel 2, you can introduce Lex Luthor,
Aye, yes, sir.
and that feeds into Batman.
Right,
versus
So
go for it,
Wonder
Jim.
Woman-
Keep going.
Keep it in. Just change that back end CGI battle and just have some consideration with what we've been fed before.
Yeah.
Justice League, keep it, but we want the Zack Snyder cut. And I don't care if you've got to watch it at home or it's a 4-hour movie, but that's the cut that we want. So keep the Justice League, but not that one. We don't want the Joss Whedon one. We want the Zack Snyder one.
Mhm.
Aquaman, trench it up and make it stop dumping plastic into our oceans. You know,
Yeah,
let's save
environmental message,
fish
that
it.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to save fishing boats in hurricanes, you know, and I want a bit more of a human story. Shazam, listen, I was going to say let's not keep it, but you guys say it's good,
It's fine.
so I'll go back and revisit it. So we keep it in.
Although I would put
And
I would put a Henry Cavill thing in at the end though, because there's a guy that appears with no head in the
I
Superman
heard that.
costume. I would put
Yeah.
in Superman.
Meanwhile, we've got a Batman trilogy, a Batfleck trilogy, more street
Nice.
level, and I think maybe we'll take it up. Maybe
Yep.
it won't have really anything to do with that. See, with the mainstream films, nothing to do with it. Although he is in that universe, but let's just make it a 15, and let's like
Yes.
street crime, and just have that running along in the background. That's going to make money. It may not make
And
billions and billions,
One
and
of
you
those
don't, and
movies
you've
can
got a budget.
introduce Jared Leto's Joker as well.
Yeah. So that's going to make money because I'm not giving you a big budget to spend in it. You've got 60 to 75 million to spend in it. So it's not. So you don't have to make much money. So you and make it a 15. Birds of Prey, I keep it. Wonder Woman, forget it. 1984, as much as it's could be a good bit of good fun. Suicide Squad, 2021, definitely keep it. But that maybe have a bit more of a tie-in to the Batman trilogy that we're witnessing. Black Adam, yeah, just tie it more into the DC universe. Flash, at that point, Michael Keaton's Batman becomes Nick Fury, as we've all heard was going to be the case.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You keep Batgirl. You don't just write it off. You keep Batgirl, make it good, have a Michael Keaton appearance, and then do you know what? Maybe if we're branching off Batman, the trilogy, to have like it'll be a 15, then I'll give you the Blue Beetle, but make it geared more towards kids.
When you go like that, a little speech bubble comes up and gives you a thumbs up. Go like that, James. Right, look, there you goes there.
No
So
way.
that,
There you go.
Aye. See that? Right, listen. Edit that down, Sloan, and make that a TikTok video.
Aye, all right. Aye.
It's because
So,
you kept
and,
interrupting.
And then see I'll give you the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom if the first Aquaman was better, but do something good with it, and I think I've fixed it. and you'll have Superman. The third Superman film could be in there too. That's it. So there you go.
Get James signed up for Warner Brothers.
That's it. I'm just going to give James Gunn a call.
Yeah.
So let's have a look
this?
at what they're promoting as the sort of next thing. So this is the end of the universe reset thing here, and then after that it's going to be the DCEU, the DC universe, and it's Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, and so this is the outline that they've got. Although I don't think maybe it is.
So you're looking at the James Gunn legacy now.
So this is James Gunn, yeah. So this is what we're getting. So Creature Commandos, which is an animated series, which is coming out fairly soon, I think.
Right.
Waller, which is a live action series that brings back what's her face? Who played Waller again? Viola Davis.
Viola Davis, yeah.
She's coming back as
not
Waller.
Right, okay.
She's not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm not sure about these two already.
Superman Legacy with Armitage Shanks. I don't know who the guy's name is. What's his name? James Crumble.
Crumb Snatch. Crumble.
It's not it.
Cucumber Patch.
Cracker Natchers. Wait a minute. Crouch Sitter.
Don't know. Anyway, Lanterns, which is a live action TV show. The Port Authority. I don't know if it's called the Port Authority.
It's called the Authority. It's a Mark Miller thing. It's a Mark Miller thing. So it used. It's if Batman and Superman were gay lovers, and it's almost a little bit like The Boys. No, I'm totally not making it up. But Mark Miller done it, and it was very. Was it Mark Miller or Grant Morrison? Oh God, can't remember. He was from Glasgow anyway, so.
Okay.
But it was his take, and it wasn't a DC property initially, but then it became a DC property.
Okay.
Right, I'm not digging any of this at all.
Paradise Lost, which is a live action series. I don't know what Paradise Lost is. Batman, The Brave and the Bold.
Brave and the Bold.
Is that an animated full length movie?
Yeah.
I think that's meant to be live action.
But it was animated.
Brave and the Bold. It wasn't. But it's from an old book. It was an old comic book from the 60s and 70s called Batman, Brave and the Bold.
I think most of these are TV series, though, Sloan, apart from the Superman Legacy.
Well, that's the only one. The only ones they've announced is Swamp Thing, Supergirl, and Superman Legacy. Everything else is a TV show.
By the way, right?
It's not. Don't blame me.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. So,
blame James Gunn.
Why are they announcing so many logos?
You got to give the artist something to do, Jody.
I've got a kind of horrible feeling this is going to be Kathleen Kennedy.
Marvel.
I just don't know why.
I mean, what was Agatha Coven of Courage and
I know, but why do you need to announce all these things that are announce them nearer the time, not when they're like 2 years away or something?
You got to whet people's appetites.
I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a fan.
Not a fan of this.
Well,
it would appear the main thing that we need to concern ourselves with is Superman Legacy. No matter what happens, that's the one. That's the one that's going to kick everyone off.
You're absolutely right. And if that goes pear-shaped, God help us all.
Don't let anything else distract you. Yeah. That's the badger.
That is the one.
And it is literally front and center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't care about any one of those other ones at all. Not a single part, apart from the Joker one and stuff at the bottom.
These ones here, which are called DC Elseworlds now.
Again, an old comic book.
Teen Titans Go, obviously, as well. But no, Superman Legacy is the one to watch. Yeah. Let's see how that goes first, and then let's worry about all these other bloody things. That,
yeah.
To me, they're going to.
It looks like Viola Davis is Amanda Waller in Creature Commandos, and obviously
Yes.
Waller.
Yeah, so this is these are the voices that are in here as well. There's someone else's. Sean Gunn is in Creature Commandos as well. He's playing Weasel
Again.
again.
Mhm.
So
All right.
Nice one. Oh, cool. All right.
nice.
So I'm hopeful for the James Gunn era. Hopeful for it.
We'll see.
And I think I was like, when he came on board and he sacked everyone, and they're not coming back, and they're not coming back. And do you know what? Henry Cavill's come back, but now he's not come back. And at the time, I was a bit kind of, oh, but now I'm behind it.
Yeah.
I'm behind
Well, we'll
it,
see
yeah.
how James Crumble will do in the role of Superman. He looks good, though.
Fingers crossed.
We'll see how it goes. It's the same thing Sam said to me when Matt Smith was, because her favorite Doctor Who was David Tennant, and he transformed into Matt Smith. And she's in tears. She was young at the time. She's in tears, and I said, "You never know. You might be your favorite Doctor Who." And he was.
Oh.
There you go.
No, it wasn't. It was David Tennant. But she really likes Matt Smith, though. She really likes him as a Doctor. It's like her second favorite Doctor. Anyway, all that talk of Doctor Who. I think we should probably end our little discussion now. Thank you very much
indeed.
for all y'all who've been watching along. And
Thank
if you like what you see, don't forget to give us the old thumbs up. Thumbs up. And share as well on social media. It really does help the channel. Hey! Fireworks and everything. What's going on here?
Jeez,
This is this new thing in the
Looks like it.
phone. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Can I do this? Can I do that?
Wow.
And,
Cool.
hit the old subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll get time reminders when we put something new up. And we've got a podcast coming out this Sunday at 9 p.m. UK time. But thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.